A saloon owner in 1879 is standing behind his own bar, watching his staff pour drink after drink to a packed room every single night. The place is busy. It should be making money. It isn't. He starts watching his own bartenders more closely, and what he sees confirms what he already suspected. Cash is disappearing straight into pockets before it ever reaches the till. He doesn't hire more staff to watch the staff. He doesn't install a lock. He builds a machine instead. And buried somewhere inside that machine's eventual side effects is the exact reason almost every price tag you'll see today ends in the same 2 digits. Think about this. You've looked at thousands of price tags: groceries, gas pumps, streaming subscriptions, sneakers, plane tickets, different stores, different countries, different decades of shopping. But almost every single one of those prices ends the same specific way, just 1 cent short of a round number. And you've probably never once stopped to ask why. Why does nearly every price you encounter end in 0.99 instead of a plain, whole number? Not just clearance racks or dollar stores. Groceries, electronics, subscriptions, even 6-figure cars sometimes list a price ending just short of a round number, as if an entire global economy quietly agreed on the same missing penny. You're probably thinking, easy, it just makes things feel cheaper. $9.99 feels like less than $10. Even though it basically isn't. That's the obvious answer, and it's not wrong exactly, it's just incomplete. Because that explanation only tells you why the trick works on your brain today. It doesn't explain where the trick came from in the first place, or why an entire industry converged on the exact same number, down to the cent, instead of any other slightly lower price that would have created the same psychological effect. To understand where this actually started, we have to go back to 1879. To a saloon in Dayton, Ohio, run by a man named James Ritty. Ritty's bar was doing steady business, but the money coming in never seemed to match the amount of liquor going out. He became convinced his own bartenders were pocketing cash during transactions, quietly skimming a little here and a little there, in amounts too small for any single customer to notice but large enough, across an entire packed bar every night, to genuinely hurt the business. He had no real way to catch anyone in the act, and hiring someone to stand and watch the bartenders would have meant hiring another person he'd eventually have reason to suspect just as much. What he needed wasn't a better set of eyes. It was a machine that made stealing structurally difficult, whether anyone was watching or not. Ritty designed a mechanical device that recorded every transaction the moment a drawer was opened, essentially the first modern cash register, and patented it not long after. He eventually sold the rights to a businessman named John Patterson, who built an entire company around manufacturing and selling these machines to other suspicious shop owners, just like Ritty had been. The early pitch for these registers wasn't convenience or speed. It was almost entirely about controlling employee theft, sold directly to owners who no longer trusted their own staff with an open cash drawer. Here's where things get interesting, because the register alone didn't solve the whole problem. A dishonest clerk could still ring up a round number sale, quietly pocket a portion of the cash, and hand back change from their own pocket without ever opening the drawer for that particular transaction. Retailers needed something that forced the drawer open every single time, with no exceptions, regardless of how the clerk felt about it that day. The fix turned out to be almost embarrassingly simple. If an item cost exactly $1, a customer paying with a dollar bill required no change at all, and a dishonest clerk had an easy opportunity to skip recording the sale entirely. But if that same item was priced at 99 cents, the customer handing over a dollar bill was now owed a single cent in change. That 1 cent forced the clerk to open the register, retrieve the coin, and in doing so, automatically log the transaction on the machine's internal paper tape, where an owner could review it later. The missing penny wasn't a discount. It was a trap built entirely out of arithmetic, designed to make theft structurally inconvenient rather than merely risky. Retailers adopted the practice quickly, and it spread far beyond saloons within just a couple of decades. Department store advertisements from the 1880s already show prices ending in 99 cents, marketed directly to customers as bargains. And by the early 1900s, large chain retailers had trained entire generations of shoppers to expect exactly this kind of pricing on affordable goods. The anti-theft function and the marketing appeal appear to have developed almost side by side, close enough in time that historians still genuinely disagree about which one came first. Some researchers point to newspaper advertisements from department stores using 99-cent pricing as early as 1880, proudly calling the prices unbeatable bargains, which suggests merchants may have stumbled onto the marketing appeal independently of, or even before, the theft prevention explanation ever took hold. Whether the register or the sales pitch came first, both stories point to the same era, the same rough decade, and the same missing penny. What's not disputed is what happened once both effects were sitting on the table at the same time. Store owners noticed something that had nothing to do with employee theft at all. Items priced just below a round number consistently outsold identical items priced at the round number itself, even when the actual difference was a single cent. That observation eventually became the foundation of an entire field of pricing psychology, built around something researchers now call the left digit effect. Human brains read numbers from left to right and latch on to the very first digit encountered as a rough anchor for how expensive something feels. A price of $2.99 registers, on some subconscious level, as being much closer to $2 than to $3, even though anyone doing the actual subtraction knows it's essentially the same as $3 flat. Marketers eventually gave this whole family of techniques a name: charm pricing, a term borrowed from the idea that certain numbers carry an almost magical persuasive pull, entirely disconnected from the math sitting right in front of a shopper's eyes. By the time cash registers had become common enough that the original theft prevention function stopped mattering to most shoppers, the psychological habit had already taken over completely on its own. Retailers kept the pricing convention, not because they were worried about sticky-fingered clerks anymore, but because the exact same number that once forced a drawer open now quietly nudged a customer's brain toward a purchase. The trick had outlived its original purpose and simply found a new one waiting right behind it. That habit turned out to be remarkably durable, surviving the shift from cash to cards, and later from physical stores to online ones entirely. Modern research on e-commerce listings has found that products priced with a 9 or 99 ending consistently earn more clicks and higher sales than items priced at a round number, even though nobody buying something online is ever handed physical coins as change, and no clerk anywhere is being forced to open a drawer. Some digital retailers have even started experimenting with other odd endings, like 77 or 49 cents, chasing the same psychological effect while trying to feel slightly less predictable than the 99 everyone has grown numb to seeing. The theft prevention mechanism that started the whole convention is completely gone. The habit it accidentally created has outlived it by nearly a century and a half. So, what if James Ritty had simply hired a second bartender to watch the first one, instead of building a machine? Cash registers might still have been invented eventually by someone else facing the same problem, but the specific timing and the specific businessman who happened to buy the patent and turn it into a nationwide sales pitch about honest employees might have played out completely differently. 99 convention needed both a mechanical reason to exist and a marketer with the reach to spread it into department stores. Remove either piece, and today's price tags might look noticeably different, built around some other number entirely, or no consistent number at all. Remember the last price tag you glanced at without a second thought? The one ending in that same familiar 99 cents? It was never really about looking cheaper. It started as a countermeasure against dishonest bartenders in a 19th century saloon, a tiny piece of forced arithmetic designed to keep a drawer honest, decades before anyone realized it could also quietly convince a stranger's brain that $10 felt like $9. So next time you're standing in a checkout line, glancing at a price that ends in .99, remember what's actually looking back at you. You're not just seeing a marketing trick, you're seeing the fossil of a 19th century anti-theft device, still doing its job long after the theft it was built to stop stopped mattering at all. You've seen that price 1,000 times. Now you know why.